Today I would like to talk to you about using colored pencils appropriately. On your table you will see a bin of colored pencils, and in that bin there may be a couple other supplies. There may be 2 boxes of art sticks, the pencils themselves, and then maybe some scrap paper for you to practice and test out some colors on before using them on your good paper. The tray of pencils you will see has a piece of tape on it with a pattern, and the pencils inside also have a piece of tape with the matching pattern on it. If you find pencils as you're working that have a different tape pattern on them, you can find the table they belong to and deliver them to that table. The boxes of art sticks. Let's talk about art sticks. Art sticks, as it says on the box, are woodless colored pencils. So it's the same lead that is inside a colored pencil, the same lead, but it's not round and it's not covered in wood. Instead, it is in a square shape, and I'm going to show you how to use art sticks in another video. They're used to cover a larger space in a quicker amount of time than it takes to use colored pencils. Some rules when using colored pencils. The first rule when using colored pencils is to keep the pencils safe on the table. The lead of a colored pencil is very, very soft, and unfortunately the pencils are round, which in turn they will roll and fall off the table. If the pencil falls onto the floor, the lead will break into tiny little pieces. When you try to sharpen the pencil with the table sharpeners that are in the red box, or the electric sharpener that is on the side counter by the sinks, you will notice that when you sharpen, the lead will fall out. You sharpen again, the lead will fall out. You sharpen again, the lead will fall out, and so on. Basically, the pencil is no longer able to be used because the small little pieces that it broke into keep falling out of the pencil. So we need to keep these in the middle of the table. Only take a couple pencils out at a time. If you have a bunch of pencils, then they're likely to fall onto the floor as you are working. The next rule is do not sharpen the pencil to a fine point. This is about as sharp as you want the pencil to be. If the pencil is at an extremely fine point, you will see really pointy, scratchy lines in your shading, and that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a nice soft shading, so don't sharpen it to an extremely fine point. An extremely fine point may be needed if you are trying to get fine line detail, but for general shading, you want a somewhat blunt point on your pencil. The next rule is to start light. So we start with lighter colors, or when we're shading, we press lighter with the pencil to start with a lighter value. Value means the lightness or the darkness of a color. So we always start light when we use colored pencil. Next is to use the entire length of the lead when shading. So when I shade, I'm going to hold the pencil at this end instead of up here where I'm going to press down with the point. I will hold the pencil down at this end, and I will use the entire length of that lead to get nice, soft, gradual shading instead of holding it here and getting scratchy pencil lines that show up in my shading. So use the entire length of the lead when you are shading. Layer colors to make new colors when you are shading. So maybe you start with a lighter yellow color and you want that to be a little darker. You could layer a color on top. Now I have a yellow-orange. Lightly pressing down to add color on top of the other. And then if I wanted to make a shadow along this edge of that shape, I could use an even darker color, or I could, going on to the next rule, use other dark colors besides black when shading. So maybe I pick up this blue and I use the blue to add an even darker shadow. Instead of picking up my black colored pencil, I used another dark color instead. These are a few rules to remember when using colored pencil.